Well, greetings once again and welcome. This is the New Thought Media Network. I am Ken Ludwig, and you are watching the Vibrant Living Hour, which today is going to be the Vibrant Living 30 Minutes because there's stuff going on in my world. And part of that is going to be a piece of our discussion today. The subject of today's show is transformation and transition. And I'm going to touch on a couple of those, and they're both going to be very much the vulnerabilities. It's going to be what's going on in my life, actually. And so first, we're going to start with transition, which is it's a big thing in my life right now. I moved to Colorado in 1975. I was I would be 25 at the end of that year. It was the summer of the year that I turned 25, and that was 46 years ago. That's how long I've lived in Colorado. And in fact, I lived in the same house here in Colorado for 26 of those 46 years. And my beloved Lisa lived with me in that house for half of that time, for 13 years. The last 13 years that I lived there, obviously. The last 3.5 years, we have lived in a townhouse, only 4.5 miles from where we lived before, but really was kind of an interesting move in that it felt a lot like we had moved from the country to the city, even though it was only 4.5 miles. What we did discover in a townhouse is we tremendously miss our backyard and we miss our garden. And so little by little, we kind of knew that this was never going to be our forever home. And the next thing was going to be to find another home here in Colorado. But something transpired over the last couple of years where I guess you come down to, this is not the Colorado I fell in love with in 1975. Not the Colorado that my beloved Lisa fell in love with 20 years ago when she came here. It's a different place. Not that that's bad, but it's not us. It's not serving what we want, what we desire in the world. So we came to a conclusion, time to move on. And so in a week, we close on the sale of this townhouse. And 10 days after that, we move. And where are we moving? We're moving to North Carolina. Interesting choice, I'm sure a lot of people would say, and some people who've known me for a long time thought out loud, I didn't think you were ever leaving Colorado. Well, the truth is I didn't either. But we're going to the western portion of North Carolina, up against the Blue Ridge Mountains. We're downsizing our mountains from the Rockies to the Appalachians, and we're going to a part of the state that is a little less populated than the rest of it. North Carolina has, like Colorado has all of our population on the Front Range. North Carolina has most of theirs in Raleigh and Charlotte and Wilmington, Winston-Salem, and along the coast. We're going to the western part of the state where it's much more sparsely populated. And it's much more rural. And that's really kind of what we love most about Colorado. But that's what we're going to look for in North Carolina. And the truth of the matter is, if you're looking at the values that you get for your money, if you will, get a whole lot more value for the dough in North Carolina. So that's where we're headed. And it's coming up quick. And as they say, stuff's getting real now, man. And, we don't say stuff a whole lot, but stuff's getting real. So it's a huge, huge transition. There's also been a transition in my business life, which I think is worth stopping by to talk about. And don't take this as a sales pitch, because it's not. Unless you're interested, then it can become a sales pitch. But the truth of the matter is I have been in the network marketing space for, most of my adult life, on and off, in and out. But I've been consistently making my living in network marketing for a little over a decade, coming up on a little more than a decade. And I represent a couple of different companies. And I'm really, really thrilled with what's going on in my world, because what I have always focused my attention on has been health and nutrition and physical well-being. And so the companies that I represent absolutely represent that. And as well, it seems like there is a movement afoot within the general population to be more aware, to be more conscious of that. Hi, Anna. I'm so glad you joined me here today. Thank you. And Wayne, good to see you as always. The important piece to me is that so many people are embracing the idea of their health and their well-being. And more important than that, they're they're embracing the knowledge. This is not just an idea. This is knowledge, because this is fact, that your health begins and ends pretty much with what you put in your mouth. We are eating lots and lots of food-like substances. We're eating a lot of crap, basically. Lots of chemicals designed in a lab. They're not food. There's no food value, but they really make your tongue go, ooh, that's yummy. Either fat or salt or sugar. Those are the big three of your tongue being excited and wanting more of whatever it is that you just put in your mouth. But the flip side of that is, like I said, it's mostly chemicals and it's all crap. Your body, by the way, does not recognize these chemicals. It certainly knows there's no food value to it, but it doesn't recognize them as anything positive, as anything life affirming. And your body responds with an inflammatory response, which explains in so many ways all the diseases that are inflammation based that we have in our lives, in particular, all of the inflammation based autoimmune diseases. But that's another subject altogether. The transition that I was talking about has been, I went to a convention for the company that sponsors the show. Okay. The company that sponsors the show is, of course, HempWorks, my CBD and CBD based products. And it is part of a larger organization called My Daily Choice. My Daily Choice is an umbrella company that when I started with them 20 months ago, they had 3 brands underneath their umbrella. Now they have 9, and they're all trending products. But as time goes by, the products that we're focusing on have more and more and more to do with health and well-being. That's been a huge transition for the company. It's been a huge transition for me, and it's been a huge transition for my commitment and dedication to what I do and have done for the last decade, as I mentioned earlier. So that's transition. And again, I don't want to make it a commercial, but I will tell you this. This company has added a new brand that is, it's the deepest detoxification and cleansing product that I've come across in my decade of experience. And in the process of doing this 30-day detox and cleansing, it cleanses everything, cleanses all of your organs, cleanses your blood, cleanses your colon. That's a big one that most cleanses don't even touch. But there's an additional benefit, and that is you're going to lose weight. Now, I know people they just introduced this product less than a week ago. And I had friends, people that I know fairly well, who were part of a test group going into the launch of what kind of results would they get from this particular cleansing protocol. And one of my friends is about to be 58 years old, 50 pounds heavier than he wants to be. In a 5-week trial with this product, not only does he feel fabulous because of the amazing detox that he went through, but more importantly than that, or maybe in conjunction with that, he lost 25 of those 50 pounds in 5 weeks and feels like $1 million. So if you're listening to the show, if you watch the show and you have any interest in that whatsoever, let me know. And again, I don't mean it as a sales pitch. This is about health and well-being. It's about taking your well-being to another level altogether and recognizing that you are literally, folks, we are what we eat. And it's about time we started to know what we were eating and stop eating crap. If you feel like crap, if your health is compromised, it's because you're eating crap. You're eating compromised food and food-like substances. So that's a little bit of the transition piece here for today. And by the way, I want you to know that I have lots and lots of my beloved Lisa and I have a huge community of friends here in Colorado and in our spiritual community at Mile High Church. And we were kind of worried about, people are going to be like disappointed in us, blah, blah, blah. You know what? That was the exact opposite of what happened. Everybody has been wishing us well. Everyone has been excited for us to make the move. We're moving closer to we're moving farther from our family of choice, but closer to our families of origin, which I guess as you get older, maybe becomes a little bit more of an important thing. We have a gazillion nieces and nephews, and we're actually closer to them than we are to our own generation in a lot of ways. And we're looking forward to spending time with them without having to plot out a plane trip 6 months in advance. Everything was in driving distance. My family, moving to North Carolina, my family is mostly up on Long Island. And I have one sister in North Carolina. The rest of Lisa's family is in Florida. And she also has one sister in North Carolina. So we'll be, much closer to family and always within driving distance, whatever we want to do. So that's the transition piece. The transformation piece this is a little bit, it's tying in business and life, if you will. And I don't business was maybe the cause of this, but so many of us struggle with the idea of why are we here? What is our purpose? There's a great book that business people read, particularly people in my industry, in the network marketing and direct sales industry, a book by Simon Sinek, which is called Start With Why. And then there's one called Finding Your Why that he also wrote. And your why is a big deal. It's supposed to be something bigger than yourself. It can't be about making money. It has to be something bigger than you. Why are you doing this? Your family, your kids, but it goes on and on and on. And then the other thing is purpose, which is very much related, I think, in my world anyway, in my brain, it's very much related. Purpose and your why and your purpose are very much related. I remember there was a religious leader, and I think he is, how do I want to say? I think he's a reasonable Christian. He's not part of the evangelical Christian cult. He's not a far right-wing Looney Tune. He's just an actual Christian, somebody who follows the teachings of Jesus more than the teachings of political figures. And he wrote a book called A Purpose-Driven Life. Never read that book. I read Simon Sinek's books, but I never read The Purpose-Driven Life. And I actually think that kind of came to me earlier this morning in meditation around doing the show today. And it occurred to me that, that's probably a book I want to read. But I have always wrestled with the why and the purpose thing. And the reason is because really simple, because I have always done this to make a living. I have always done whatever it is I'm doing. I've done it to make a living. Now, I have helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people through cleansing and weight loss protocols over the last decade. And I've trained several people in doing exactly that, helping people, coaching them through those same protocols. But I always did it for a living, even though I was helping lots of people and I was helping them be healthier, helping them just live a better life, live a higher vision of themselves. But I was always doing it for the money. That's not a legitimate why. It just isn't. Because the fulfillment and the satisfaction of a big bank account is not the same as having some kind of a semblance or a feeling of legacy, that people remember you. That people want to say, Ken Ludwig helped me with this. Ken Ludwig helped me grow. Ken Ludwig helped me be more healthy. Ken Ludwig did this for me or did that for me, as opposed to Ken Ludwig sold me something. So I've struggled with this my whole adult life. It's another one of the values, if you will, of meditation. In a meditation, a month ago, 2 months ago, 2 months ago, probably. And by the way, I can see that there are people watching the show, and I can't welcome you because I don't know who you are. But if you make a comment, just say hi. Make a comment in the comments. I'll be thrilled to acknowledge you and say hello to you. If you are on either one of my Facebook pages, if you're on either one of my Facebook pages, or if you're on my YouTube channel, I'm not necessarily getting those comments. If you want to just see, just tap into the StreamYard. And I'm not even sure what I'm saying as far as how to do that. So make your comments wherever you make them. If I don't see you during the show, I'll comment on your comments later on the Facebook pages. Anyway, I've struggled with that idea. Charmaine, my good friend, nice to see you here, darling. Thank you for joining. So again, just not to be repetitive, but I have struggled with that idea of why and purpose my whole adult life. And 2 months ago or so in meditation, it came to me. I am here for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to be a beneficial presence. Now, that might sound grandiose, might sound a little too big for my britches, maybe even. But the truth is, I believe each and every one of us is here to be a beneficial presence. And then you can kind of divine that down. What exactly does that look like in my life? In my life, it's helping people look healthier, feel healthier, perform healthier, to make sure that I give everyone the best possible advice in that realm that I possibly can, but also to lift them up spiritually, if you will, to lift them up from the life they're living now to an acknowledgement of the next highest vision of themselves, and help them make the transition to get there. Sometimes you should turn off your phone. I hate it when I forget that. But the idea that we can actually look at the world through the lens of how can I most benefit the most people. I think it's Jimmy Carter has always said something, that his faith demands that he do as much as he can for whomever he can for as long as he can. What is that the definition of in my world? That's a beneficial presence, folks. That's what that is. And that's what I'm here to be. And it has now kind of informed my meditations, my prayer work, my attitude towards my business. Every day in my affirmations, I look at the idea. I ask the questions: who can I benefit, and how can I benefit them? How can I be a beneficial presence? How can I assist those who need assistance? That, to me, is a huge transformation for me. Now, on top of that is taking care of this body temple. That is the vehicle I was given to transport my consciousness from point A to point B on this earth plane. And if I'm going to be a beneficial presence, I have to be a beneficial presence for this vehicle, for this body temple. I absolutely need to make sure that I am taking the best possible care of it that I possibly can. Now, that's a startling realization at 70 years old. You know, I can't remember whose joke it was, but, you know, the old joke is, if I had known I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself. Well, you know, those of you who know me know my story. I've been sober for 33 years, but prior to that was 25 years of drug addiction and alcoholism. So I didn't take very good care of myself for that one little quarter century in the middle of my life, but I've been taking pretty good care of myself since then. And part of the transformation that I'm looking at, not just spiritually and mentally and emotionally, but it's physically. And I've done something I didn't think I could ever do. And I just kind of made a decision. I want to say cut out the sugar and the gluten, but you know what? That's an overstatement. I have cut out an enormous percentage of the sugar and the gluten. All of my favorite foods, man, look like chocolate. You know, I convinced myself a long time ago, dark chocolate is a health food. And pizza and pasta and bread and everything that your body converts from carbohydrates to sugar almost instantaneously, my favorite foods in the world. But I cut them out. Just before I started the show, I was walking down the stairs into my studio here, and my beloved Lisa said to me, "You know what? I have a t-shirt on." She said, "I can really see that this is paying off, because I don't know how much weight you've lost, and I don't either. I haven't weighed myself in a week. But without question, my whatever's in front of me here is diminished. Pants fit better. I'm going to do a transformative process. I'm waiting for it to arrive. This is that detoxification thing that My Daily Choices introduced. I'm going to start that as soon as it arrives, and I will do pictures, and you will see pictures. I'm not a fat guy. I'm in pretty good shape. Okay. But I have this layer of fat that I can literally grab in front of me. That is adipose fat, and then under that is visceral fat around my internal organs. There's just something I've been trying to get rid of for 15 years. I will transform that into, for the first time in my life, this is big to say this, I am going to be able to see my abdominal muscles before the end of 2021. There you go. That's on top of the fact that we're closing on our house in a week. We're moving 10 days after that, and we're going to live in temporary conditions in North Carolina. I'm still going to stick to this 30-day protocol and cleanse my body, cleanse my colon, cleanse everything about me, and lose some weight. And Anna's commenting here. She said, we all will do that. Well, Anna was at the convention I was at this weekend. Our team together, there were about 75 of us there, which was one of the largest teams in the whole place. And considering we've only been associated with the company for about 21 months, that was a pretty damn big turnout. But when they introduced the product, almost every single one of us bought it on the spot. I didn't bring it back with me. I'm having it shipped, and I just checked on it today. It hasn't quite shipped yet because they're inundated with orders from convention. So I know it'll ship out eventually, and I know I'll get it sooner rather than later. But when it comes, I not only will start it and do it, but you will all be privy to the results, because I think This show is about living your best life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And the physical piece is the one that we always kind of put aside, and it's the one we can't ignore. If you feel like crap all the time in America, we walk around, we feel like crap, and we don't realize we feel like crap until we stop feeling like crap. If you feel like crap, you got to do something about it. Because if you feel like crap, you can never be at the top of your game mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because you will always be under the gun of, I don't feel good. This isn't right. That isn't right. And I don't care if it's something minor or if it's something chronic or, whatever it is. If you don't feel good, if you don't feel at the top of your game physically, nothing else falls into place, because you really can't unfocus from your autonomic nervous system, from the nervous system that's telling you you're in pain. You can't unfocus from that. You can meditate on it. You can do breath work. I do a breath exercise from Dr. Sue Morter, who was on the show a couple of months ago, and her energy codes work. I do breath work on that, and I get amazing relief on the experience I'm having with degenerating discs in my spine, although I'm now regenerating those discs, and I'm quite clear on that. But that pain I can mitigate with the breath work. But if I stand too long or sit too long or whatever it is that makes that feel uncomfortable again, or there's the little bit of sciatica I deal with on my left side, if those come around, it's very hard for me to just put them aside and be okay mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen. That's one of the reasons why our sponsor, HempWorks, my CBD, is so, so important to me, because that helps mitigate pain, but it only helps mitigate it. It helps me to be able to exercise and to stretch and to do the things that make my body stronger and feel better, which is huge. But then it comes down to nourishment. What am I nourishing my body with? How am I taking care of myself? So I don't want to belabor this too much today. I wanted to, this is going to be a short show. As I said, I've got some things going on today, and I just want to make sure I got you that message. Transition and transformation, they are definitely related, but they're important to embrace. As we grow older, it is really, really, really easy to start saying no to things. I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable there. I'm comfortable with what I'm doing right now. I don't need anything else. I don't want anything else. People who I talk to about my business, and they say, I don't have time for that. You have time for everything that you really, truly want to embrace and do. And what you have to do in order to get to that place is learn to say yes. That's what transition and transformation are all about, saying yes to new opportunities, to new possibilities, to new things that you weren't on your radar before. That's transition and transformation. Say yes. Learn to say yes. I've got the donate button up there, for anyone and everyone. Tierney Ray, wow, how are you, darling? I met you at convention. We were just talking about convention. So thrilled that you joined us here today. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to have a short show today, Tierney. Normally I do an hour. It's only a half an hour today because I got things going on. And if you watch the replay, you'll find out why I only have half an hour today. But anyway, please, folks, understand New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization. Anything that you feel compelled to give, go to ntmedia.org, click on donate. We are more than grateful for anything and everything you choose to give. If you want to reach me, you can find me at teamrockitnow@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have, especially if you were interested in knowing more about this cleansing protocol I'll be doing, or also anything to do with our sponsor HempWorks, which is right there. You can ask me, or you can go right to my page, hempworks.com/Ken Ludwig, and you can find out whatever you want to know about the HempWorks products. There's a scroll, not a menu across the top. Just click on the name HempWorks, and it'll take you right there, or click on any one of the other 8 brands, and we'll be glad to have you take a look at whatever they are. Also, you can find me on my beloved Lisa and I have a branded Facebook page, Vibrant Aging, which is, of course, very much related to this show, Vibrant Living. And yeah, so that's all the contact information. And it's, I'm going back to the comments here. Anybody have any? I'm just going to do a few more minutes here today. As I said, I'm going to make it a little early today. If you have any questions, if there's anything you want to know, if there's anything, the other thing I always like to ask is if there's anything in the realm of living your best life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, that you want me to talk about on a future show, please either make a comment here before we go off the air or send me a comment at teamrocketnow@gmail.com or Vibrant Aging in the Facebook page, or you can go to my personal Facebook page, Ken Ludwig, and I'd be glad to entertain talking about anything you want me to talk about in that realm. What does it look like? What's that next highest vision of you? What does it look like to live your best life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically? And trust me, there is a mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical component to every single aspect of your life, bar none. And in fact, even every one of those 4 pieces, they have the other 3 within them. Your mental component has an emotional, a physical, and a spiritual piece. Your emotional component has a mental, spiritual, and physical piece. Your spiritual piece has a mental, emotional, and physical piece, and your physical piece has a mental, emotional, and spiritual component to it. They're all tied together. It is one system. It is what connects us to our source. It's what makes us recognizable as an emanation of that overarching creative intelligence of the universe. So, Wayne, I'm not sure what you mean by do I do treatment on Vibrant Living? You mean do I do a spiritual mind treatment and affirmative prayer? No, I do not do them normally on here, although I am have been a practitioner in the Centers for Spiritual Living. I'm also an ordained minister in the International Metaphysical Ministry. So I'm certainly familiar with affirmative prayer and have done more than my share of them with people who are in need of prayer outside of the traditional Judeo-Christian supplicant prayer of begging, cajoling, conniving, bargaining, all those things. Affirmative prayer is about knowing the truth and claiming the truth, knowing that there is only good in the universe. And when we forget that, an affirmative prayer is what helps us bring that back into our reality. So that's it for me today. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna cut it out early. As always, I am immensely grateful for the incredible gift of your time and your attention. I thank you all for joining me today. I hope you'll make note of the fact every Thursday at 3:00 Mountain Time, 5:00 Eastern Time, I am here doing the Vibrant Living Hour on the New Thought Media Network, and I would be thrilled if you would join me whenever you feel compelled to do so. Again, thank you for your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the blessings that the universe has to offer. Until we meet again, namaste.